Hi, Naomi here, and what I'd like to show you today is how to make a glassine envelope using vellum. And these are perfect for gift cards, adding onto the front of cards. You can put a message in the tag. I will actually be making a tag for my gift card. You could put them on layouts, you could hang them on the Christmas tree using ribbon with gift cards for people. There's just lots of uses for these. So I'll tell you first of all what I've used to make mine, and then we'll launch into the tutorial. So I have used an A4 sheet of vellum from Stampin' Up. I'll put the code below, and this is UK A4 size, and that's important because A4 for USA is slightly wider and slightly shorter, so this is A4 UK size that they provide. I've also used, if you can see the texture on there, that was made using this one. Try to get the right eye up. This is the Softly Falling embossing folder from Stampin' Up. And then to get the colour, because obviously the vellum is white, I have used Tempting Turquoise. Okay, now I've got the re-inker for Tempting Turquoise. I'll talk to you a bit later about how I use that to colour this. So enough of me talking, let's get on with the tutorial. Okay. For making these, you can use vellum, you can use cardstock, you can use paper, use whatever you like. I'm using vellum because I like glassine envelopes, and it's way cheaper to make your own. Out of each sheet of vellum, the A4 vellum, you can make 2 glassine envelopes. So you can make one the size that I have, or 2 the size that I have, or you can make them longer. It's up to you. In addition to your vellum or paper or cardstock, you will need some double-sided sticky tape. You need to make sure that this is not more than 4mm wide, and that's quite important. So if you can get 2, 3 or 4, excellent, that's perfect. Bone folder, because you need to get some nice sharp creases. A pencil, whatever you like to score with. So if you use a scoring board, use that. If you like to use a ball tool, use that. If whatever you score with, that's what you use. Whatever you cut with, now my preference is a blade. I know some of you like scissors, I know some of you have trimmers. Use what's most comfortable for you, and you will need a ruler and a craft pad. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to turn your cardstock or your vellum or paper, we'll call it vellum all the way through, so that it's landscape. So you need it, so it's the wider length in front of you and the shorter length there. And what you're going to do is measure across 14.5 centimetres. Now I've already pre-cut mine, so you're going to cut it down to 2 pieces like this. 14.5 centimetres, and you'll have a little narrow strip that's left over. Okay, so you've got the full height of your A4, 14.5 wide. So it's an easy start, isn't it? So the next thing you are going to do is measure, and I've done this on white cardstock so you can see it easier. So measure from the bottom, you want to go up to 16.5 centimetres, and we're going to cut this strip off. Okay, so 16.5 centimetres, and as I said, use whichever cutting tool you prefer. I like to use scissors, a craft knife with a nettle ruler. It's the way I've been doing it for years. So, and I turn my ruler upside down because it's a non-stick one, But what I find is when I'm cutting, I don't keep my blade straight. It tends to turn under. So it's one of my funny quirks for crafting. I love the ruler. I just wasn't so keen on the non-stick bit. Keep hold of the bit you cut off because you can make matching embellishments on that. So you now have a piece that is 14.5 centimetres wide and 16.5 centimetres tall. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to score. So we're going to score at 4 centimetres and again at 11 centimetres. Now the way that I do this is I don't actually draw lines on. I use my ball tool and I push. I make a little dent where I want to score. So at 4 centimetres and 11 centimetres. Then I'll do that again at the top. At 4 centimetres and 11 centimetres. And then to score, the way that I line up my ruler is I put my ball tool into the dent and line the ruler up. Put my ball tool into the other dent, make sure that the ruler lines up nicely, and then I score. Because what I find is if you line up the ruler and then you score, your score line is over a little bit. This is not an issue you'll have if you use a scoreboard, sorry. I'm just measuring up, lining up my dents. And score. Okay. So you've got your 4 centimetre section here, and this is your middle section, and there's your 3 centimetre section. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to score at 1.5 centimetres and again at 13.5 centimetres. Now one idea for you might need to make yourself a template like this. Just use a cereal packet, cut it to the 14.5 by 16.5, draw on your score lines, so your 4 centimetre line and your 11 centimetre line. Then draw on your 1.5 centimetre line and your 13.5 centimetre line. And these bits will be cutting off later, so that's why I've just put the little checker marks in there. And then that way you've always got the template for future reference. So, this is the bottom of my page. I'm going to turn this way because again I'm left-handed. And we are going to score at 1.5 and again at 13.5. I do need to invest in some sort of scoreboard. I'm eyeing up the envelope boards at the moment. It looks brilliant. There's so many different things you can do with it. So that's my 1.5. And 13.5. Okay. And then we're going to cut out these 4 pieces so that you end up with something that looks like this. Now I'm actually going to do this with scissors because I find it a little easier. Okay, if you want to emboss your envelope, as I've done, this would be the point at which you would emboss. So you just pop it into your embossing folder, run it through your Big Shot or whichever machine it is that you're using, and that will get you your pattern on there. I actually inked mine after I got it all stuck together. So yeah, just the embossing at this point. So you've got your bottom tab, your bit at the top, and your two bits we're going to fold over. So this is still the bit that was 4 centimetres wide here, and that's important because this bit's narrower. You need to make sure that you're going to put your tape on this side. Oh, I've missed a step. She's missed a step. Okay, so this is what you should have now. At the next step, what you need to do is to make it nice and neat when you're folding it all together. I like to notch the edges. So measure, put a little dot, 1/2 centimetre in from the edge of each dot, and I'll actually show you on here. I've got a little red dot here, and here, and here. I've got them all the way around, so I'm hoping that shows up on camera. I'm going to go to here. So we're going to cut from this corner down to that little dot there. And as I said, I just find it gives me a neater finish at the end. So there's your bottom tab, top tab, and this is your wider tab. The reason it's important to know which is the wider tab is because this is where we're going to put our tape. So I'm going to turn mine round because I find it easier. And we're only going to apply 2 strips of tape. So right on the very edge, or as close to the edge as you can make it. On your 4 centimetre wide piece, and then again along the bottom strip. You can use your dome folder to buff that down, make sure it's on properly. Have it going from my making mini albums. Okay, so now for the fun part. You need to fold your short side over, along your score line, and use your bone folder to get a nice sharp crease. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. And you'll notice that you've got an overlap here, which is exactly what you wanted. So take your backing off. And stick that down. I'm going to do the bottom crease. And then the top. And there's your envelope. Now you could decorate with washi tape, you could do as I did, you could ink it. And the way that I inked mine was with your re-inkers, if you've got a stamp pad you don't need to do this. I put a little dot of re-inker There are a lot of ways you can make these different, and one of the things you can do is use a corner punch. I always use my punches upside down, it's easier to see what's going on. Tiny trim there. And there you have it, another glassine envelope. Obviously you could stamp onto these and you can emboss as I've shown you. There's lots of different ways to decorate. I've created a little tassel on mine and I did that using the Very Vanilla solid baker's twine. So lots of variations you can try. Thank you for watching. I hope to bring you another tutorial soon. Take care.